just to remind you guys on what the theory was, well, it was that Saitama is actually Blast, but he himself doesn't know it and possibly have memory loss. Yes, I said it, Saitama might be suffering from amnesia. How is this possible? Well, maybe Saitama had a huge fight with God or someone super strong, who knows, maybe Saitama accidentally punched his face in or tried to off himself due to being tired of never finding a strong opponent and having depression. It could even be possible that Saitama's evolution into what he is now affected his brain, causing him to lose his memories along with his hair. But keep all of these what ifs aside, this theory is fundamentally based on the idea that Saitama had a serious head injury which caused him to lose all his hair and potentially also lose his memory to some degree, which is actually kind of backed up by the facts which is shown throughout the anime. Like for instance, Saitama doesn't really have a solid memory, which could also be due to an uncaring nature to remember things, but let's be honest, it could also be due to lack of memory. For example, there is a running gag where Saitama tends to forget people's faces and names such as Speedo Sonic's name in chapter 17, or when he could not remember who Tank Top Tiger is in chapter 22. And there was that time that Saitama forgot Flashy Flash's name when he asked Saitama to fix his sword that he broke. Now again, you can say this is due to Saitama's uncaring nature, or it could be due to some sort of memory loss. Either way, Saitama doesn't really remember things well. Now this is important because according to this theory, Saitama must have had a memory loss. Not only does it make sense, but it would also fix any plot holes to debunk this. Like Saitama's age for instance. Saitama just assumes and says he's 25 years old without thinking, probably because he doesn't remember his exact age. This would fix any notion of Blast being too old to be Saitama. This factor of memory loss would also answer the question of how Saitama is so strong. We know from other heroes who heard about Blast or had small interactions that Blast is a very strong Esper, similar to Tornado Tatsumaki. This would mean that Saitama achieving his power wasn't actually due to his training, but it is Saitama's dormant Esper powers, which makes it look like it's raw strength, where in fact it isn't. If you guys have watched Mob Psycho 100, which is another anime the creator of One Punch Man made, you would understand that Espers can use their power to enhance their physical strength. And if Saitama's Esper power is so strong and activated subconsciously, then it wouldn't be far-fetched to achieve the level of power he has. In Saitama's perception, his past might have also been a blur to him, but due to his uncaring nature, he just focused on what he always had been, a hero for fun who wants a challenge. This would also go back to the point when Saitama killed the crab humanoid, where in fact we know of the event from the memory of Saitama, which could have slightly been distorted in Saitama's perception, whilst in reality Saitama might have killed the crab humanoid with ease, saving the bald-chinned kid, ultimately creating the Hero Association. If you guys forgotten, the bald-chinned kid is the grandson of the man who created the Hero Association, and this event was the primary reason for the creation of the association. After that, Saitama was more than likely assigned a code name Blast by the association and given the S rank, which again was because the bald-chinned kid told his grandfather about how he was saved by an unknown hero, and later whenever there would be a monster being blasted away with one punch, it would be recorded as a victory for Blast, or as we know, Saitama. This again is also supported by the fact that the hero names are usually given by the associations themselves, so they must have dubbed him Blast after witnessing the effect of the monsters after his bout. That makes a lot of sense, right? However, with all that, the Hero Association doesn't know anything about him, but they do confirm that Blast exists. The staff members even get frustrated by his lack of activity, which makes sense because the Hero Association doesn't know who he really is and have no concrete way of contacting him. Blast does not answer their phone calls and is only a hero for fun. Blast was always portrayed as a hero who does what he wants and when he wants, which again is very similar to Saitama. Like in the manga chapter 17, before meeting Genos, Saitama didn't even know the Hero Association existed, which again only makes sense if Saitama has an uncaring nature about these things and even possibly might have forgotten. I mean, how is it possible for Saitama to not know what a hero even is, or that an hero organization was existing for 2 whole years during his training? Like, come on, while he was training he wanted to be stronger and understood the concept of a hero. We even have specific flashbacks of Saitama saving King or other people during the attacks fighting monsters while he had hair. So 2 years later, when he loses his hair, Saitama then states to Genos that he doesn't know what a hero is or who the Hero Association are. How does that even make sense? unless he lost most of his memories and the idea of how his power really works. Now another clue to Saitama possibly losing his memories is due to the collaboration of Murata and One's one-shot manga. These two are behind One Punch Man itself, and in the one-shot that they made, there is a character that has memory erasing bullets which she uses to blast the enemies away in close range. She is said to have a terrible personality, but the fact is that she has a collaboration with Saitama. This could be all coincidence, it could be meaningless, but there could also be meaning behind this, where the one-shot itself is a huge Easter egg. But coming back to the theory of Saitama being Blast, well, the knowledge on what we know of Blast is limited. The only information that we actually have on Blast is based on rumors and the interaction Blast had with the other characters. Like Child Emperor says that none of the S-class heroes have seen Blast, but we know this to be untrue, therefore confirming that everything on him is actually based on speculation. This is because that we know for a fact that the one who had seen Blast is Tatsumaki, and even from her interaction with Blast, it shouts out that Blast is Saitama. Like guys, look at this panel. Blast's interaction with Tornado is exactly like Saitama's interaction with King. In this panel we see that Tatsumaki remembering that Blast called her out in her lie. There is also a scene where Saitama calls out King in a very similar fashion. Like both Blast and Saitama called out the lie and questioned it. They both said the same thing about being a hero as a hobby, and we also know that Saitama had a job whilst he supposedly was training to be a hero or going out saving people. This is backed up by the interview with One where he stated Saitama made a living doing troublesome part-time jobs such as being a construction worker, convenience store cashier, ghost in a haunted house, so on and so forth. This was when Saitama was training and out saving people. So yes, we know that Saitama had a job doing actual work and he was also saving people. That's how he funded his lifestyle before actually becoming a hero. And coincidentally, Blast has also been confirmed to be working a job whilst being a hero. Having a proper office job such as a 9 to 5 is what keeps everyone busy. Most people in real life that works a 9 to 5, they don't usually enjoy it since it's not their passion. One, the creator of One Punch Man, is someone that loves to portray deeper philosophical message in his series. What if the reason Saitama states he hates office life is because in the past he was doing it but not truly happy? There is also another obvious similarity between the personality from Blast 18 years ago and the present Saitama. Like for instance, Blast 18 years ago believed that you should not rely on someone to save the day, which he expressed to Tatsumaki when she was 10 years of age. He literally said to her, "When the time comes, don't go expecting someone to come save you." Now that is quite powerful as it pushed Tatsumaki to become the tornado that she is right now in the series. His advice literally inspired Tatsumaki in some weird sort of way. Doesn't that remind you of Saitama? Like, look at all the interaction he has with the other heroes. Due to Saitama's blunt statements, he actually comes off as the most realist character in the series, which rubs off on the other characters in a positive way. Another point to note is that when Tatsumaki recalls her memories of Blast, she self-reflects and says, "I've always been pushing people away. There's no way I can say I became a pro hero thanks to him. When will you come back, Blast?" And she says this while Saitama walks away. If that isn't poetic, I don't know what is. And if Saitama is truly Blast, we see in the present that this becomes an oxymoron to the philosophy because now everyone does rely on Saitama himself to save Earth every single time. Blast and Saitama both wanted people to become stronger and the best versions of themselves, so society does not solely rely on them. Their mission really isn't to become a police force for society against monsters. They are heroes for fun and want to enjoy what they do by having a challenge at the same time helping other people. And again, it's not just doing things for people, it's actually helping them. It goes back to the saying, give a man a fish, feed him for a day, teach a man to fish, feed him for life. And the mission of a real hero isn't constantly to fight the battle of other people, but to help them to fight their own. Both Saitama and Blast are shown to have this mindset, which again supports the theory that Blast and Saitama are one and the same. Now when it comes to looks and appearance, no one that we know have actually seen Blast. Even Tornado. Yes, in her recollection she only hears his voice from behind her locker room, so she actually hasn't really seen him. The other character who is said to have an interaction with Blast is Elder Centipede, but you guys should know what happened to him. Saitama appeared and blasted him with one punch, quite literally. whilst Elder Centipede was alive, he didn't really give any description of Blast's appearance. But what we do know from rumors and other possible recollection is that Blast wore a cape spandex costume, which is actually similar in design to Saitama. Like, what is the chance of that? And again, the fact that Saitama says he's 25 doesn't mean much. He could easily be much older, but similar to how Tatsumaki appears young, Saitama's youth could also be affected by his powers. But now with all theories, there are counter arguments, and for this theory, it's actually solely dependent on Saitama having a memory loss. It's also based on the assumption that Saitama forgot that he's an Esper or the origin of his power, along with confusing his actual age. Like, either Saitama or Tatsumaki has to be wrong about their age. Tatsumaki says she's 28 and interacted with Blast 18 years prior to the series when she was 10, which would mean that Blast cannot be Saitama because of the age difference. Saitama is said to be 25 years of age, which would mean that 18 years ago he would have been 7 years old. Therefore, he could not have any interaction with Tatsumaki Tornado. And to add to this, the bonus manga chapter 8.5 shows 12 years old Saitama being a weak kid without friends. However, once again, if we do take this theory as reality, believing Saitama is Blast, it would explain a lot of the mysteries we encounter in the series, from how Saitama is so strong to why Blast does not contribute to any fights or why he doesn't communicate with the Hero Association. Like, even if they did manage to call Blast or Saitama, Saitama would more likely hang up regarding any contact to Blast as telemarketing like calls. And as we mentioned before, Saitama has shown time and again that he is completely clueless on what is going on around him. And if you think about it, how strong would a new character like Blast need to be relevant at all? Some may say that it would ruin the plot of One Punch Man because Saitama needs to be the strongest person since he's a parody of the heroes. Either way, let us know what you guys think about this theory, put it down in the comment section below, and smash that like button to show us your support, subscribe and ding that notification bell, and I'll see you guys till next time.